Paladin banned away, not in contention this one. Geely has his Druid banned away. So now looking at what's remaining for the two players.
So Plantz does have that. Warrior is the main difference. The one we've seen so much of is...
Versus Plantz. After this, we will have our top 4 decided. And Amnesia, I'm going to catch you up since you ran over here on the lineups and lists and everything. But even Paladin banned away from Plantz. We had Token Druid banned away from GLE in this one. So the remaining decks, as you can sort through them here and take a gander, I'm certain you can piece something together here for me. My thoughts on the matter were, instinctually, if you have to ban even Paladin, it means that you're in quite a bad spot in the lineup.
Okay, tell me through that, because I banned even Paladin once this tournament and felt pretty good about it.
Well, it's just not it's not like the strongest deck in the world.
Sure.
When I got to ban it, that's bad news.
Or it could be good news because you're really strong against the other decks, right?
I want to ban the other decks because they're good.
This is interesting.
This is what I want your input on.
Okay, so I mean, when I'm banning a weaker deck, generally that means they didn't have my best ban, right? So I banned even Paladin this tournament because my 3 best bans in order were Odd Warrior, Odd Paladin, Shutterwalk Shaman, and he didn't have any of those. So I was in a good spot because I got to ban something weaker than what he would usually have. But I can see what you mean. Like, maybe you didn't prepare for even Paladin, then you get in a spot and it's like, man, I was going to ban Odd Warrior.
Yeah.
But then it's like, he has even Paladin, I need to ban that. I know, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so take a look at this matchup here. We got Zoo Warlock facing on Plantz's Odd Warrior deck. And, Zoo is something we haven't really seen too much in terms of broadcast time. I mean, it's mostly been a lot of Cube Warlock showed up in this one. Even Warlock always a big force, as you typically expect. What do you make of this matchup here, and who do you think's favored this one?
Kaliset's a big one. This matchup goes a long time. Very often, the Zoo Warlock can actually go pretty far into their deck, almost to Fatigue. I've seen this matchup go to Fatigue multiple times. It's still an uphill battle. They got a lot of answers, a lot of taunts, a lot of life gain. But the Kaliseth, I think he's got a fighting chance.
So it's Kaliseth going to have to put the team on his back, do some hard carry in this one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to be like a 2-mana 40-40 throughout the game, right? I almost think you should have coined it. Just get every buff you can, because then when you play Kobold Librarian, you draw a buffed minion.
I get criticized a lot for coining Kaliseth here, and I'm glad you're on the desk right now backing me up on this one.
Well, I mean, here, it's good here, I think, but maybe...
big fan of the coin Kaliseth.
No. You can't just extrapolate this.
You heard Amnesia say it right here. Coin the Kaliseth every time. Trust the deck.
I trust the deck.
Look, I put a Firefly in my Death Rattle Hunter so I could coin Kaliseth
into Firefly. Oh my god. That used to be in the deck, actually, a while ago, when it was before they played Eggs. But this start is pretty bad for Glee. Usually, you kind of need to not get disruptive and force an AoE on 5, and I think if you can keep that initiative, it's a big deal. But right now, Plantz is actually just winning on board, which that concerns me, because I think Zoo needs a good start and then good follow-up, and if you're missing the good start, you're going to have to use your cards pretty inefficiently, and you need all the efficiency you can get.
Talk about inefficiency, you mean like use a Soul Infusion on a Voodoo Doc?
Yeah, stuff like this. Like you can't optimally align your cards, and you kind of need to get as much as you can out of every single card in this matchup. So it's almost like a control. If you think about a control mirror, you want to use all your resources as best as you can because you're going to play all 30 cards. You're probably going to play all 30 cards as Zoo in a game you actually win.
Yeah. Well, ideally you don't, but ideally you get to about card 9 and you're like, oh, that's going to wrap it up.
All right, and Doomguard off the top, and Glee with the shocking upset. Plantz literally armored past every turn.
I think it'd take up a lot more than Doomguard to kill him, but if you just actually hit the button every time.
People criticize me on turn 3. I'll just hit the button. I don't play this deck that much. I have Stonehill Defender. Button.
Wow, that seems a little silly to me.
Well, but on turn 5, you can play Stonehill and the button.
Explains the performance this tournament.
All right, who's on the casting desk? No, it's me.
Both of us, I guess.
No, it's over.
Looks like a pretty easy fungal man for me.
Yeah, for sure. Get the ball rolling. He's in an awkward spot, though, with his hand. Like, I guess maybe he could just wait on this Doomguard for a while, like try and Solarium into some gas.
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of looking at this, and, Life Tap's a hell of a card. It's not like Odd Warrior's going to be pressuring you out of this one. So if you draw, like, another useless card in this scenario, I mean, Solarium and Soulfire in this matchup not exactly bringing the beats. So you just slam the Doomguard, get it up, and then hope that you can just continue to draw heat afterwards.
I buy it. Super Collider, oof.
I'm a big fan of making them use the Super Collider.
Oh, just like playing things into it. Well, as Zoo, there's no getting around that. Like, here, I think the Doomguard's pretty good because it's not just awful against the Super Collider on board.
No, my Fungal Enchanter, though.
No, that would be, no.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of Solarium anyway. I don't think it should be in the deck, so I just want to get rid of it right away.
Okay. Ooh, it's kind of heat, though.
That's pretty darn good.
I think that might be the best Solarium I've ever seen.
That's the thing, though. If you would have played Doomguard here, you would have had life tap basically into this same scenario. It would have been Flame Imp into Flame Imp, and then you have the doubling it.
No, yeah, I agree. I don't think Solarium's as strong as we initially thought. Well, you actually didn't think it was going to be good. I thought it was going to be very good.
I thought it was going to be okay.
Okay.
And I still don't think it's like bad. It's not like someone has Solarium in the deck, and I'm like, bad deck.
Yeah.
But it's a card that it's very demanding of when you play it, and so it clutters up a Zoo hand, and that's pretty much why you put 30 million 1-drops in the deck, so that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think when you do have Solarium in your deck, you need to be a little more proactive with using it. It's like sometimes you'll have a weak turn 4, and it's like, hey, I could Solarium and try and get like one more thing to play this turn, and that, yeah, like a Happy Ghoul, or even just like a Void Walker, and it's like, this is going to be more useful now than later when I'm losing.
That's what I dislike about it. Man, a Void Walker's not really my
It's not good, yeah. But I mean, the idea would be that you also have the attached upside.
Now, Dinomatic, that's my kind of thing.
That's your that's your man.
Just took out the board.
He does that really well.
That card is savage.
It's so good. Oof.
Yeah, but it's you're not happy to see that one.
No.
Or maybe you are at the same time, though. I mean, again, if you're going to play Doomguard, you don't want to discard minions to it. You want to discard spells that don't keep attacking.
Oh, so you think this Soulfire might not have been the worst? I think it's good.
You're
I think it's fine.
No, because your opponent's getting to that range where 2 attacks from a single minion is going to put them in a danger zone.
Sure. Yeah. Maybe you do get to extend that damage lead. But I think, yeah, this matchup's honestly about resources and how many board states you can create where the Warrior's like, I don't want to use my AoE because I know he's going to play another thing.
Yeah.
But I need to because I'm dying to this amount of pressure. And that's what I mean about efficiency. It's like, how can I table threats that are going to create that situation without overcommitting so I can continue to put him in those uncomfortable spots?
And I actually don't disagree with this Soulfire.
I think this is correct.
I think we need to take a big risk. I think you cannot let this die to just, the easiest imaginable thing in the world, which is just tank up and then shield slam.
Yeah.
You got to make them have some more armor. And so, we see more armor in Plantz's hand, but this is the best opportunity I think this league is going to get from this spot.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I like to talk a lot about taking good risks and finding ways to gamble in bad matchups. This is a good risk to take in a matchup like this, for sure.
I don't know, that Fungal Enchanter, though.
That wasn't a risk.
2 extra life for a life tap.
No, that wasn't a risk. That's not what a risk is.
I don't think that word means what you think it means.
I think Admiral's stupid.
Damn.
Got him. So do you just shield slam it, you think?
Well, I'm not going to take 5.
Yeah, I mean, you could Doctor Boom. I don't see any reason to this turn, I guess.
4 armor.
Ooh. He's doing what I was talking about, which is like, I don't want to commit my resources, but I think this is a good time to commit some resources, personally.
And so there's 2 ways to look at it, right? Number 1, your opponent's going to play a minion here, and you're going to be able to take it out and then shield block, shield slam the next turn, or you're going to shield block, shield slam this turn. Your opponent's going to play 2 more minions and snag some initiative back. So I don't mind this because I think Plantz's life total is really flexible right now because there's not a lot of resources on the other side. If this was like a grip of 3 or 4 cards, I don't really see this Elise coming down first.
No, I agree. I think this was a minor nod to just, I'm really ahead. This is almost the safer play in some ways because it's safer in terms of resource management. Maybe not safer in terms of life total, but Plantz knows that his life total is fine. Like, he's out of range. He's seen both Soulfires. He's seen a Doomguard. There's no Leroy in the deck. It's like, it's almost more conservative to take some more damage here and just kind of wait and see what happens. Make sure that if Glee's hand turns out to be insane, you have game against it. So this is more cautious, and that's kind of what I expect from someone playing Odd Warrior, right? Like, you're a more cautious person when you're bringing Odd Warrior to a tournament. I am not a good Odd Warrior.
Yeah, you're the kind of person who looks both sides of the street 3 or 4 times before you decide to actually cross. That's what Odd Warrior says about you. Think about that, people in chat who are Odd Warrior players. Yeah, Dreamhack knows all about you.
Yeah, no, I crossed in blatant traffic last night. I couldn't.
Don't do that.
I couldn't figure out when to go, dude.
No, it's a sign.
There was no sign. I had to go.
Go to the sign.
No, there was no sign.
There's got to be one direction or another.
Oh, well, I mean, I had places to be, man.
So you can run a mile, but you can't walk a block. I get it.
I'm still very sweaty. It's very unfortunate.
I don't think Plantz is sweating. This is looking pretty fantastic.
I think whenever he wants, he can kind of end the game with shield block, shield slam. That's how it looks to me.
Yeah, he does need a little bit of help from this one. So it's either Super Collider on the 3/3 and then start bashing 5 for face, which 5 to face is a lot more than 0 to face. Use the Owl's shield block. This is looking like a pretty done deal here.
Huh. I think just shield block, shield slam trade was pretty good. That seemed like the most efficient, but
I want that 5. Whoa.
This doesn't seem as good. I think this is...
Whoa.
I think having a 5-2 is really good when you know he doesn't have Soulfires left, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to Shield Slam that's bigger than a 7-9 Doomguard?
It's a 5/5. Like, it keeps attacking.
Yeah.
It's a spell that keeps casting.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Gift that keeps giving. It's like that.
It's approaching that most wonderful time of the year as well. So, you know, thematic as well.
What's that? This is
Now I'm
Stevie
more
Wonder
upset about
song?
the theme of it.
Higher Ground. Is that Stevie Wonder?
I don't know. I was talking about just generic Christmas songs where the guy sings "It's the most wonderful time of the year."
Is that a song or is that just like a thing people say?
It's a generic Christmas song.
Is it like by somebody?
Well, yeah, somebody had to write. It doesn't just exist. It doesn't just grow.
I don't know.
Songs are pretty cool.
Go Gators.
Brawl it up.
This is what I mean, though. Like, for Glee, this isn't that bad, right? Like, he has some reload on the back end of this, and he's going to have a man stick. This is why I feel like Plantz ceded initiative when he had an opportunity to hold initiative and then keep getting more out of that 5-5. Like, I think that could have really disrupted Glee, and I think putting pressure on the life total is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's like
because it limits their, it's like limiting their resources. Now he just shield slammed to 3-4. I feel like this was a little backwards.
Oh, can't look at the past. Gotta look forward now.
He can make
Sarnites are gone here. Doubling
Are they?
gone.
Doesn't he have one more?
He might have another one.
I think he has one more, and he has one more doubling.
Are you
him.
willing to hold Soul Infusion at that point?
No, I'm playing it every time.
Okay.
I just saw a shield slam. You can make a Venture Co mercenary this turn.
That's a 7/6.
Yeah.
Except this one doesn't make your minions cost 3 more.
Yeah, that card was pretty good in Arena. I don't know. It was big, dude.
That's where we're going already. You're that bored with the Outer Warrior matchup already?
Well, you would play it, and they'd play Boulder Fistoker, and it would contest.
That's bad luck. I wanted to hit him for 7.
You just ship it to face, play your 2-mana card that costs 5, and say go.
Still a 5-mana card.
No.
The modified, semantics.
No, this one isn't semantics. I'm not letting this go. He's going to hold it. So he's thinking a little more long-term. I feel like this might have been a good... I sense some weakness from that play from Plantz, so I think this might have been a good time to try and capitalize. Okay, the weakness is in.
I mean, it's true. There is like some sort of weakness there, but you know, because of that, do you perhaps need more? Like, do you need to get lucky in order to win from this spot? It's not like Plantz is anywhere close to dead right now.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Okay. So you just think like 7-6 versus 5-4 is not that impactful, but 3-4s versus 5-6s, maybe that's the difference.
I don't know. You know,
Sure.
It's the fact that you just get so much more out of the card if you happen to get, you know, another doubled card here. I see this and I'm ready to dip a little bit, but
No. We're fighting it out. Glee's my man.
look, I'm gonna fight it out too. You know, I'm here at top 8 of Dreamhack, and this is do or die time.
Are you ever, have you ever casted my series when I'm like super dead in one of the games and I'm writing stuff down? Do you ever wonder what I'm writing?
No, I always know exactly what you're writing.
Sometimes I'm literally doodling.
I figured.
One time I had math homework I had to do.
So you're the reason these tournaments get held up. I get it.
No, I'm never the last person. I don't know how, because I play aggro decks. I just play them really slow. I'm like Productions. No, I'm like average in Productions' eyes. They'd love me if I was
agree.
just slinging cards.
Definitely average in Production's eyes right now.
Jeez.
Yeah, what about the old Savage for you? Didn't expect that one, did you?
Came out of nowhere. Gramps came to play.
I'm shipping this face.
Yeah, I don't think the value trade does enough.
Gotta
necessarily.
have some damage cranking.
Yeah, I mean, he's at 25 again, Admirable.
Exactly. So
That's-
it's time to giddy up. We don't exactly have any cards left. We got some 3/2s left in the deck.
They're 3/4s.
I'm talking about the voodoo doctors and Cobalt Librarians and stuff.
Maybe Glee's looking at the value line. I think he's going to need to hit him to win that way, too.
Look,
though.
this is a 2-for-1 deal right now. You attack the first time, it's getting another.
What? That's just not a claim.
It's not dying.
Okay.
It might. I mean, Omega Assembly just got drawn.
Yeah, no, he's probably gonna get a magnetic thing. This is getting out of hand.
Probably.
I mean, I don't know the math.
It's just like, think about all the bad ones. It's like Harvest Golem, Alarmabot, Demolisher.
Hey, put some respect on Demolisher's name.
I'm naming the ones that just don't have magnetic.
Yeah, but you called him bad. Take it back.
I'm not taking it back.
Okay. All right, I'm out.
I'm not doing it. I'm
No
not doing
deal.
it.
Deal or no deal.
Come back! I take it back!
Plantz Really taking his time.
Well, those are some good magnetic ones.
That beryllium nullifier. Or the other thing. Oh, he can do that and then trade, and then dynamatic. And since it's a mech, it'll clear the board completely.
Honestly, I think as long as you're spending your mana here, you're pretty good to go.
Yeah. I don't think Mekaroo makes the cut this turn.
But Joey bot.
Oof.
Yeah, that looks a little better.
Yeah.
All right, it was dying.
Well, he could draw Despicable Dreadlord.
We were so close.
One turn earlier, and that could have been the difference. But yeah, I just don't think the early game went well enough for Glee this time. And I think that's where you need to make a lot of progress, force them to use a lot of stuff, and then the game's going to go really long, and you're probably still going to lose, is kind of how I've played this matchup.
I feel like you really hit the nail on the head where it was turn 3 versus Odd Warrior, and you'd point out that Glee was losing the board.
Yeah.
That's not supposed to happen when you're playing aggressive early board decks.
Yeah, it can. In aggro mirrors, that's kind of okay for Zoo sometimes, especially if you had Keleseth and maybe they didn't.
Like Happy Ghoul starts.
Yeah, like over the time you're gonna get that advantage back. But against Odd Warrior, it's like that deck is made to scale until turn 30, and yours literally tops out at 5 mana cards.
Yeah.
It's like Mayweather versus McGregor. It's just not a stylistically good matchup. That's not even. There's no ball. They just hit each other.
It's kind of like Hearthstone.
Oh my God, you're right. Damn, Hearthstone's lit.
That's what these young teens are thinking about these days. Hitting people, yeah.
Hearthstone, yeah. No, I know the young kids. That's not what they do.
Man, I want to see this Mekaroo get busy.
Mekaroo hits the board.
It's got rush.
Oh yeah,
he got an extra 1/1 here.
Played around Despicable Dreadlord.
Yeah, well, that's still the deck.
All right, the next wave. It's like zombies. Have you ever played like Call of Duty Zombies?
I was thinking Plants versus Zombies.
That game is super fun.
Well, it's Plants versus Happy Ghouls, like versus Zombies.
Ooh, that's good. Did they spell it with a Z too? I think they did.
If Glee gets on Hunter too, we could see Plants versus Zombies.
You spend a lot of time thinking about this stuff.
Well, Lorinda told it to me. I just figured I'd steal it.
Ah, it's a rough look.
It's like, oh, he's not going to get that opportunity again.
You know, it's tough when that's what you steal.
I think, man, what does that mean? Look, you take away my right to steal ideas. Where else are they going to come from?
Jesus, that's a dark concept.
Yeah, you're too young for The Simpsons.
Yeah,
they hit the nail on the head with that one, though.
Oh, he's really still here, huh? Oof. It's not a good look.
Honestly, I think that's not a horrible draw.
It really isn't, but like it's a real bummer to discard the Dreadlord.
You got 2 cards in your hand is the thing. You don't discard the Dreadlord here. You play the Despicable Dreadlord.
Yeah, for sure. I think he has like a Happy Ghoul left.
The problem is you're staring at 7 more armor across the board, and they're at 20 million still.
Yeah. It's harder to kill Druid than Odd Warrior, I'm convinced. It's impossible. Dude, I played a game where I got through all of his removal, and then he gained 27 life in 1 turn.
Correct.
And I won.
Well, then it wasn't impossible to kill him. You gained 27 armor, you kill him.
It was impossible for the average person. You know how good I am?
Very humble young man.
All right. He can clear the board with a Faceless Manipulator, and then he can gain 7 life and play a Stonehill Defender.
Plants is like, at this point, it's like trying to remember what the last 2 cards are and making sure you're not forgetting something. You're like, thinking over the deck list, you're like, there was no Blood Reaver Gul'dan, right?
Oh
that
my
wasn't
God.
in there.
That always spooks me. The second I get way ahead against Zoo, I'm like, all right, I got to kill him before this can happen.
It happens to me so much.
It's so common on ladder. It's insane.
It's a very good card. I'm starting to think it should just be in there over Solarium.
I think that's better than I think it's we talked about this before. I wanted I was talking with Chalky before Luminosity played a Trinity series, and we were talking about Gul'dan. He's like, dude, it's literally only good like 1 in 100 games, and but we decided it's like, yeah, but the game it's good, it wins you the game, and it literally won them a game in that tournament.
Yep.
And Chalky put on the robe
and the wizard hat.
Right, that too. Good old days. I miss Chalk.
He's not dead.
No,
I just want to clarify.
He's still here. Lee is maximizing screen time.
Works for Blizzard.
Oh, you're talking about Chalky. I thought you meant in the game.
No,
it's like, yeah, Glee's not that on board.
You were like, I missed you.
Oh. Oh, I mean, yeah.
It sounded. I was like, yeah, maybe I should clarify.
Dude, I used to talk to him like every day. Now he has a job and he works.
One day you'll be there.
I'm gonna stay young forever.
The 15-year-old phenom.
I'm just old and terrible.
Yeah, never put kid in your name as a nickname, by the way, because you'll be 46 and people will still be calling you kid. How do you think Kid Rock feels about that?
I think Kid Rock is doing okay.
He probably deserves it.
I think Kid Rock's fine. I know very little about Kid Rock.
Yeah, same. Still a kid. Blade Flurry is going to wipe out the remainder of cards. That's enough. Glee's had it. 1-0 over to Plantz. It's been 1-0 for a while, but it's a formality to walk through this, so you don't give up. This is the last match in single elimination here from the top 16, which means in last year's standing, this Zoo deck is now out of contention. Back behind this, we are looking at Paladin and Hunter that are remaining. And, you know, I've been having some debates with people recently. I am not convinced that Death Rattle Hunter has a favorable matchup versus Odd Warrior.
Okay, walk me through that.
So one of the things I'm thinking about is just the partitioning of resources from the Warrior side. I think that there's enough game there to fight off against Zombies for a substantial amount of time. Like, it's not like Death Rattle Hunter super pressures you. It's the big bursty turns you're worried about. Them cubing something really significant without you having AoE, or a big Katharina turn with a crush that starts to really threaten your armor total so that you can't sweep out a board. I think if you can avoid those two things happening, that you're actually in a pretty good spot.
So, some of the people in my practice group brought Odd Warrior to this tournament, and a way they made that matchup better was they were playing their own Carnivorous cubes, and they were playing 2 copies of Faceless Manipulator. There's 1 Faceless Manipulator in Plant's deck, but that's actually really powerful, because when they cube, you can go Faceless Brawl, and that's like a big interaction late in the game. But I definitely agree. I think Warrior has a lot of gas. It's very, very often that people are playing Double Owl now. You can go for a while. If the Hunter doesn't draw Rexar early, they're going to gas out, and then the Warrior's just going to turn the corner and win, is my experience. I actually don't think it's right to keep Keleseth in this matchup as Hunter.
Whoa.
I think you want Rexar that badly, and I think maybe you're supposed to keep Katharina.
So are we keeping the tracking in that case? Because I feel like some of my experience here as well is that I often dislike casting tracking at all because I need to just make more zombies.
I agree. I think you're supposed to fully mulligan for Deathstalker Rexar in this matchup.
I mean, look.
But it's hard to pass up the turn.
I mean, look at it.
I know.
You're gonna find the Rexar sometimes right on 6 when you wouldn't have otherwise, and you gotta look. I'm not mulliganing Keleseth, all right?
I'm mulliganing it.
I'm not.
I'm doing it.
Look, we're in 1-drop land and 2-drop land right now. There's 1 2-drop in the deck. I'm keeping it.
Steady Shot does the same amount.
No, it does not.
Here it is. Oh!
So that would have been found naturally. Something I sometimes like to do with tracking is I will keep it sometimes in this matchup, but I'll see if I draw Rexar naturally by turn 6. If I do not, then I rip a tracking. If I do, then I don't play it ever. That's
actually something Chalky used to do. Remember the old Warlock mirror where it would go to fatigue a lot because the decks were really defensive?
Yeah.
And it was like kind of about who had Gul'dan first? Chalky would say, maybe you tap for Gul'dan, but you certainly don't do it until turn 10 where you may have naturally drawn it. You might need to start tapping for it later. It's the same idea of like, wait and see, the matchup's gonna be slow, you're gonna have time, you don't necessarily need to track there. Like best case scenario, he gets, because getting Rexar is no different from naturally drawing it. So maybe getting an egg and putting on some pressure is better. But there's even an argument for wanting to tracking after you play Keleseth because the stuff is just buffed. Just greeted him.
Well, you know, I'm saying hi. It's right across. To get the white noise getting funneled in the ears, they can't actually talk to you. Yeah, you can't hear me because you have the headset on that way.
When I was playing Zalay at Dreamhack Austin in the finals, he game 1 goes like an hour. It's super confusing. Game 2,
I remember.
Turn 2, he goes, didn't draw Wild Growth, and I see him say it out loud, and then he hero powers, and then he dies on turn 5. It was super funny. Just ripped another tracking.
Yeah.
It's important to note that he did burn a Carnivorous Cube and a Gluttonous Ooze. Like, he didn't burn inconsequential cards in the matchup. I think Carnivorous Cube's quite powerful.
Yeah, and here the tracking, honestly, I'm going to call this an error because you have Deathstalker Rexar, probably the most important card, and then the second most important card is probably just the number of them in your deck. I know that that's not actually a card, but I want to use that as hyperbole to emphasize what's really going on.
Sure.
It's not that you're trying to make Beast and Warrior can't handle that. It's that Warrior has a lot of removal, and so to get past that wall of defense, you need time to continue to make Beast over and over again. it is not unrealistic for Plantz to handle 14 or 15 big minions in a row.
Oh,
That's
for
not
sure.
an impossibility.
Well, I'd say like half the beasts you build are just like, they're like child's play for Warrior, right? It's like Super Collider swing,
Like-
it's dead. Or it's like ignore it,
6/6.
kill it with a Dr. Boom hero power. And then you'll make a few really good ones. Those will cost some premium removal. But also, when he tracking, he didn't seem to know what he wanted. And I think that's something that happens a lot now. People kind of cast tracking when they have 1 mana. I'm a pretty big fan, especially in slower matchups. It's like, maybe I'm going to want Cube. Maybe I want Katharina. Maybe I'll draw Katharina. I don't want to get the beasts out of my pool. Like, I think waiting in these slower matchups, especially when you already kind of have your deck assembled in a way, like you have the Rexar, I think that's pretty underrated. I would have played this 3/3 last turn to contest this Stonehill, probably. I don't know. I'm usually pretty down to give up on that activating.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much of the early game. Again, I just want to emphasize, I feel like it's fairly inconsequential. You're just not going to get that blistering start where you bust them out. And if that's the case, why are we tracking? What are we looking for? You know, if we're looking for a big egg and you know, open up and start attacking, that's going to get stuffed you know, pretty good percentage of the time. And then furthermore, you're not really making any progress that way. So I'm fine either playing it or holding it either single way, but you know, you got to start formulating a game plan here. And if your game plan is start hero power, you're gonna give up the board. And when you give up the board, then you're gonna have to spend time getting it back. You know, maybe that's 1 or 2 more zombies that gets handled because you gave up that early pressure. So I'm okay for fighting for it. I'm okay for holding. You got to figure it out some way or another. And to me, that means these trackings have been wasted.
I think the initiative argument's definitely real, because Rexar's actually pretty slow. Like, you can Rexar and they can kind of just play stuff, and for a long time, you're just going to be a little behind and not making progress. If you can be ahead and then Rexar on 6, that's when it gets really hard for Warrior.
Scary.
Because like they're dealing with your board, and every time you build a beast, it's much stronger because when you have initiative, your minions are better.
Yeah,
because they don't get to dictate the trades, and it's like you just keep piling on the pressure, and eventually they break, and you have the cube activator, or they just break, and you build another big zombies.
Yeah, it's also just your mana's moving up. You're going from 6 mana to 7 mana, 8 mana. It untaps that potential you have for spending more mana on a single card as well.
Ooh. He actually does not have a good answer to the Soundmaster shot right now. He can kill it with Super Collider. Oh, he has the Steel Rager that he discovered off Omega Assembly. My bad. That's pretty good here.
Still 2 minions.
It's less pricey, I'd say, than the other things. I mean, you could get the Super Collider online.
That's 2 of them.
Knowing that he runs Mossy Horror too, that it's like there's less incentive to preserve this board because it gets Mossy Horror, maybe. But then if he's doing that, he's not playing Rexar, so.
Yeah, but if not playing Rexar, that usually just means they don't have it.
Right. That's fair. Well, I mean, I don't think there's much of a difference between playing it on like turn 6 or turn 8 if your hand's good.
I think too is the Gluttonous Ooze here. You know, if your opponent's gonna Gluttonous Ooze you on a 6 mana turn, they're not playing Mossy Harbor or Deathstalker Rexar at that point. And then with 3 mana left, they haven't played an egg yet.
Yeah, so they clearly are gonna have a super weak turn.
And so, you know, we spoke about disruption a bit, and this is like another form of it here, where even if your opponent is going to have a card that really fights against you, make them spend mana inefficiently to do that.
So he's just pushing. The damage sort of matters, especially once you get into fatigue situations.
Oh boy.
He hasn't tracked over either of the Grizzlies, so that's still pretty good here.
It's also just the threat of the power. You know, there's not really any way for Plantz to know that the big beasts are in hand.
Sure.
And so you're just staring at Katharina, and you're like, I can't kill that without being able to follow up, because if I do, I'm just going to take 8 or take 9 or whatever. That's a real threat.
Yeah, a lot of the time I'll just be like, I'm never beating the second beast. And I think a lot of the time that's true. Like, I'm looking at the 6/6 and I'm like, this is already a problem.
It's just funny to hear it. Like,
I think people don't. That's a good risk to take sometimes. It's like, I am never beating King Crush this game. Like, he put it in his deck and it's about to come into play, and I'm Druid.
That's just a tough pill to swallow when you have to admit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm beat.
Yeah, no, it's like I'm dead to rights pretty much. But something interesting here is this actually set up really well to deal with this stuff with Super Collider. Like, if he intended to get Mossy Horde, this is totally fine for him. Like, his reaction to this is pretty powerful.
Yeah. It's going to take a long time to get through those charges.
Yeah.
Looking at 6 turns of attacks from Super Collider. He's going to have the time to do it. It's just, I want to get him turning. I want that tempo.
He opts to leave up the 5/5.
I'd probably leave it up.
I think it's good. Because against Super Collider now, you're going to have a... Since the Elise won't die, you can use the Rexar Battle Cry to kill it, and then you keep a minion.
Yeah, it's just something. Just a back and forth right now.
Yeah. A little bit of bant.
Like a tennis match. Because I know you like sports ball.
Yeah. Right. Admirable is doing tennis right now. It's
That's the tennis ball sound.
That's not the... Actually, oh man, that's pretty good, actually.
Well, it's because of the speakers.
That's the tennis ball sound if you're bad. If you're good, there's spin on it.
Do you think I'm good?
I don't know. I'm good.
Yeah. I want you to take a look at me right now and ask yourself, when was the last time I played sports?
I think you look pretty good. The beard looks great. I like your tie.
The more you work out, the bigger your beard gets.
Okay.
Yeah.
That explains it. I've been going to the gym a lot.
That's why mine's so small right now.
It's a tough look.
Yo, we jamming this Rexar.
Yeah.
So stop thinking about this one. We know what's happening.
Yeah, the other plays are so bad.
We're going to spider bomb this 5-1.
I did that. I told you. It was good that time, but it was a very different situation.
Yeah, but, I mean, here, he's got to start building value. With the big beast in hand, kill windows are much more minimized when the charge beasts are in hand instead of in deck.
Oh, I see what you
can't
mean.
get big cube activator turns
Yeah.
on them. You have to let your opponent have a chance to respond to them.
Yes. That's very true. You can't get like the mana cheat of the death rattle of Katharina. I mean, I think he's going to slam Katharina next turn.
Well,
I don't think I'm not building a beast.
It's
It's
like
Katharina.
Katharina.
Yeah. Yeah.
It should just be called Caforna.
Huh? Why?
Because it's so big. It's not 3, it's 4. It's a numbers joke for you.
I'm trying really hard to get it. My sister had a friend named Katrina. All right. Let it rip, Glee.
I am kind of curious though.
I'm not.
I want to know what's in the beast.
Oh, yes. Dude, I didn't get to build beasts at all this tournament. I was so upset. I love building beasts. It's super fun.
I also, even though I've already said it, the Plants vs. Zombeasts, I want to see the Plants vs. Zombeasts.
Dude, Muzzy and I just build beasts together sometimes. That's how we bond.
Just calls him up. He's like, hey, you want to build some beasts? Yeah, sure.
I got some time. And this is tough because, like, do you really want to use an owl on a non-cube? He doesn't know that one was tracked over.
And you also don't know what's, where the beasts are at. Are they the big ones in hand? Are they in the deck? Like, I think you could have some semblance of a read because you didn't see eggs, you didn't see any spider bomb, you haven't seen a terror scale stalker, you haven't seen a mind control tech, you haven't seen a candle shot. Like, there's a lot of cards in the deck that it pretty much can't be for some of those cards in hand. So, then my head goes to Flanking Strike, it goes to Witchwood Grizzly, it goes to Cube, to Zilliax, to Hunter's Mark.
Be a good time for a man.
And then
the
the
big
big
beast.
stuff.
Yeah, no, his range, I would agree, is very... I think even if he's doing really careful hand tracking, he knows that on turn 4 there is no Flanking Strike because he didn't do it. That's the kind of stuff I do, but I've had a lot of practice with it, and it's really hard. I got it wrong a lot.
That is a good clear, though. Blink Flurry, Owl the Katharina.
Ooh, tank up! That one's so much better than the other ones.
It's pretty darn good, but the thing I'm looking at now is that Plants' life total is getting low.
Oh, for sure,
when you're having to use Super Collider, you are typically under heat, so you need to snag that board and start to snowball it in your favor, start to crush your opponent's resources so they can't climb back. But that's not how Glee's deck works right now. It keeps coming, and it doesn't stop coming.
I was watching Crypt play Arena. Apparently Super Collider is insane in Arena.
That's where you go off that? Trying to build some suspense here.
I was trying to fall asleep last night.
I got to teach you youngins how to do this.
I thought it was a
Dr.
good story.
J knows how to listen to stuff.
No, I'm better than that guy.
Well,
objectively.
tennis.
Objectively. Have you seen my win rate?
Have you seen mine? It's bad.
It's a tough look.
Yeah.
He built a beast. What about just playing King Crush there?
I don't mind it. Your opponent is really under pressure in this spot, but you want to think about, can you create a situation where King Crush is better? Having access to 8 immediate, 9 immediate damage in hand is very powerful. Like, you can't scoff at that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at how it worked out, and it seems like this was just kind of a little weaker because he floated the mana.
Plants versus Zombeast. Booyah.
Did you ever play the second one?
Oh, man, it's only 1 right now.
That's okay. When there's another Zombeast, I'll make sure.
Okay.
I'll bring it up.
I'll let you steal it from Lorinda for me here.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
This would be a good
talk.
time for a master play.
Right.
I don't know, man. This is looking tough.
Agreed.
I mean, they all look okay, but I don't want okay plays. I want good plays.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to kill this, but he's not making the type of progress that you really need to as the warrior. He's not getting, like, the super efficient plays.
It's just parity over and over again.
And parity favors the hunter. Though he did burn 6 cards out of his deck with trackings.
That's a good
I think
point.
this is the type of game where you're going, it'd be better to have 16 cards in my deck instead of 10. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yep.
Just build.
It's worth noting, Spider Bomb Ziliak's playdead, it's pretty much going to recover any lost board state, right? Kill a guy, blow up a guy.
Well, honestly, at this stage, so do you remember what was tracking? It was Cube and what was tracking over?
Cube and Gluttonous Ooze.
Cube, Gluttonous Ooze.
And then he played another tracking, which tracked over a flanking strike and...
The second Spider Bomb still in the deck.
Yes.
Okay, so Spider Bomb playdead is a real thing too. Like, eventually Plantz is going to get some substantial presence. When that happens, if you're able to combine 2 Spider Bombs, you know, it's not unrealistic to save playdead stuff for a very long time because of that.
Oh, for sure. I think one thing that you might want to think about, though, is that you don't want to let them as Alina a really defensive hunter hand. Like, it's kind of good to use your defensive resources in a way and kind of be left with, like, clunky, bigger things to pressure them with. But then if they as Alina, it's like, what am I going to do with an 8-mana, 8/8 stealth minion? Like, that doesn't help me here.
Yeah, you got to be ahead when you as Alina in that situation.
Yes. I think Azalina is really interesting in this matchup for that reason, though. That's actually something I've talked to my teammate saying a lot. He's like, yeah, I just kind of build bad beasts sometimes because, like, I don't want them to get good ones. Like, he could have built Lifesteal Rush Cave Hydra, and he was like, yeah, I just built, like, an 8-drop. It was like, what are they going to do with an 8-drop? I'm like, what are you going to do with an 8-drop?
Gonna play it.
He's going to play it.
It's probably got stealth if it's 8.
Yeah. Muzzy says you always get stealth. I don't.
Muzzy said you always make poisonous too, and I believe his quote was, even if you're 100% dead on board.
I've seen him do that.
I don't believe that that's correct.
No, I've seen him do that.
I believe that he has done that. I don't believe that it's correct.
Depends. It depends how you define winning, right?
Sometimes it's about sending a message.
I mean, I'm all about redefining winning. It's not about the match. It's about life.
Sounds like a shoe ad.
It's about a series of matches. Something like that. I don't know.
Like a soft piano music playing. It's like life is a series of matches.
I've been trying to play piano again. I'm so bad. It's so rough. Because I like to sing, but like you can't just sing.
Oof, especially not you.
You want to go?
Oh, I've heard it.
Really?
You really want to compete with the deep, rich voice of That's Admirable? That's what you want to do right now? You really want to do that to yourself?
I want to do it
to your friends and to your family?
Oh, my friends are with me 100%.
Well,
my statistics teacher is rooting for me this tournament.
Glee's is falling behind in tempo.
But he's not falling super far behind in tempo.
It's not super far behind, but, you know...
Oh! Okay. Well, that's not the disaster for Plantz. Because that would have been an issue.
Low bats always make me so nervous when I see him.
It's still pretty good. He can do this, play that through the board if he wants. I feel like this is maybe a little bit premature. Maybe he could have just developed some more things and passed, let this self thing go. Plantz commits more, and then you get a good
board here as well if you wanted.
I don't think you want to, though. Like, I think he just brought the board. He just cleared instead of maybe there was an opportunity to develop there. I'm not sure. I think the development was pretty weak.
I'm worried about this 4/6 poisonous because with a super collider down, it's really difficult to stick something next to it.
Right.
It's very difficult to do that.
You kind of need to use the egg, I think, as like a blocker. Yeah. Maybe like egg and Ziliax are sort of resilient to this situation.
3-turn setups.
Yeah.
Takes a while.
I'm all about thinking ahead. I'm a gamer. I game.
I don't think you ever play that one.
Probably not.
I mean, you get to steal a Joey bot?
Well, I mean, that's not the idea, right?
Well, I mean, the idea is you steal the 3/6, but you know, what are you going to steal?
I don't know.
Usually a Joey bot.
Well, definitely usually a Joey bot, but certainly some of the time you steal the 3/6.
Yeah, it's a true story.
You want to debate any other math facts?
It's usually a Joey bot, though.
I was talking to my math teacher about a math test, and she was like, oh, you just multiplied wrong. And I went out, and I wrote out on my papers like 3 is 3 is 9. And I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. She got a kick out of that.
Basic math is tough sometimes.
Really hard. I lose most of my points doing
that. You know how many lethals I miss?
I don't. Yeah, I don't, actually. Is it a lot?
I don't either. I miss them. If I knew I missed it, then that's the
then you wouldn't
didn't
miss it. Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, I never thought about it like that. He's going for it. Oh.
The Joey pot.
Back at it again. Are you swinging with this Cave Hydra, do you think?
I didn't play it to not swing with it. I would have swung last turn.
Isn't he going to build a beast with this egg? Glee's got to do something. Okay, he's going to get a beast here. Oh, we got the Cave Hydra off. That was good. Oh. Snow Flipper Penguin.
Okay, in my head I was like, why doesn't it have a second thing attached to it? I was like, is this a new interaction? It's like, well, you failed to select.
It's like remember when you play mind games and there's no minion in their deck? The Shadow of Nothing.
That's what I was thinking about too. Like in my head, my mind went to, wait. So what if it's better to not combine it with something? Like you just have to rope out and let it, but it's just a Snow Flipper Penguin. So
yeah.
But I was starting to freak out for a second.
Ooh, if he attacks there, can he deal the last damage to the thing? How's he gonna do that?
Well, he's got hero power.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. I missed that.
This thing could have dealt 8 damage, and instead it dealt 0. Well, I take that back. It dealt 4 to your own minion.
So it dealt like...
Also, the Cave Hydra attacked the 5/5 there, and it says it deals the damage next to the adjacent minions it attacks. Why didn't it hit itself?
No, the Cave Hydra didn't attack there, though.
Okay.
I don't know how it would work if it went the other way.
I am actually curious about that now. If you Super Collider actually attacked the Cave Hydra. I don't think I've ever seen that.
I don't know the exact wording on Super Collider. I think that would
Force the minion next to it to attack.
Force them. I mean, if it says attack, probably attacks.
Maybe the attack means like when you decide to attack, though.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah, okay.
We'll never know. We'll never know. Damn. This is where you want this gluttonous ooze.
Someone on Twitter, let me know. Someone out there's got to know.
Someone drop me a follow too, please.
This is where you say your tag.
No. If they don't know it, then I don't want them.
Well, how are they going to find it? What if they just, that's their first time watching?
They'll know who I am.
That's not how that works.
Oh, it's how it works.
Okay.
Yep. See, like, I feel like this King Crush could have come down way earlier. If we're doing it now, I think the other spot was better. I'll put it that way.
It does threaten to kill your opponent in this spot, so I could see some difference.
He could faceless BGH.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying from Glee's perspective. Like, you're looking at it and 9 takes them to 9. They have to deal with it in this spot. You know, before, maybe they don't have to deal with it. Even though they pretty much have to deal with it. And this was the nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just hyped because this used to happen all the time. Remember when you'd play Rag and they'd go faceless BGH?
Why would you hurt me like that?
Is there a beast you can build that would be lethal?
Charge. Bittertide.
Yeah. The Candle Shot probably gives him extra outs somehow.
Is there a 7 attack beast you can combine with charge? Nope.
Cave Hydra.
Not today.
It's not Rush, though. He can clear with Hunter's Mark, Candle Shot, but he's getting low. I mean, it's just tough for Plantz to actually get this last bit of damage going, right? Like, he's starting to kind of run dry on resources. The delivery drone's going to really help, but getting this last 9 is not as easy as it is for other decks, for sure. We saw that in the series with Seohyun and Swaggy, right? He got him to 1 HP, and then...
We're also staring at the Ziliax in hand, too. Like, from Glee's perspective, he knew that this was bad, but he knew that he could handle it as well.
Sure, yeah. But he didn't have the Candle Shot. If he didn't pick up this Candle Shot, what was he going to do?
A Spider Bomb.
Oh, okay, yeah. He could have actually done the exact play we were talking about. Ziliax, Spider Bomb, clear the guy. Yeah. You're at like 14 life. You're safe. He could also just commit the Witchwood Grizzly if he wants. Save the Ziliax with the Spider Bomb.
Is this a spot where you're ever like feeling like you could use your life total here?
I think you can.
Like play 2 3s instead of playing the 5?
I don't think playing 2 3s is the best way to leverage your life total, but I think playing the Grizzly was fine if you wanted to do that. I kind of like getting this down on a turn where he doesn't have the 1/1s or the pin. Though. This is like kind of a good opportunity to weave in the Ziliax.
That's actually one of the things I like most about the Dr. Boom hero power is it's like a mini objective where like, yes, it is a very powerful, long scaling thing, but the way that you're going to approach the game and the order you play your cards really matters of how it's lining up into that specific hero power. A lot of times you have to change your game plan or you're just going to give up so much because they have the perfect hero power lined up.
I think a lot of the time it's just waiting until they get, honestly, for a lot of decks, it's like wait until they get Kaboom, now I'm going to make my push.
Exactly.
Or I think as also alternatively in control matchups, I see people use the hero power every turn. Oh, it's Kaboom. All right, this is the Baku turn. Like, I don't need the hero power right now. Ooh, I think Kaboom Bot's a sick roll. It's underrated. It deals a lot of damage for not much mana.
It's like a bad Spider Bomb.
Like a good Fireball.
I appreciate your optimism, but
Do you?
kinda, yeah. But it's again, it doesn't hit players.
All right. So he can now kill 2 things if he ever wants to, if he hangs on to that combo. I'm looking at the mana cost in his hand, and I think it's impossible for him to not build a beast this turn. I guess he could play all of the 3 mana cards, which would not be very good.
Thinking cost efficiency.
G5-8. Oh, that's the Fibonacci sequence. That's where I knew that from. What? I like math.
I just want. He's talking about multiplying incorrectly.
Well, I like
and
math.
struggling to count.
Well, I struggle to count,
but you
I'm-
know the Fibonacci sequence.
Oh, I'm an eclectic person, dude. I'm really good at some things, and I'm not very good at the others. I'm not a middle-of-the-road gamer.
This game has felt like a giant Fibonacci sequence right now.
Because he's playing Warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that. Ding. You think the people at home got that?
Some of them.
I hope so. I think the people who got it really appreciated it.
I hope they did.
Yeah, and that's important.
They probably are just angry at me.
Are they usually angry at you? No. They're just angry people. That was so out of nowhere.
I just like firing shots. It's fun. I don't mean anything by it.
This has to be the best Steel Ranger ever. Look at this. Ooh, that's an Elemental plus Kalamos combination. That's powerful.
Yeah, and it's also just a Frozen Crusher. It's just an 8/8. That card
Curious
feels
Limeroo.
super underrated, by the way.
Frozen Crusher.
Just a 6-mana 8/8.
But it stops after a little bit.
It's like a preemptive Leroy Jenkins. Like you play it and it's an 8/8, and then it gets to attack for 8, and if they don't kill it in 2 turns, it's another 8.
So was Fell Reaver. That card was actually good.
Well, it was Fell Reaver.
No, you can't keep doing this. Whenever I make an argument, you can't just say, yeah, but that was that.
How do you think I win so many of these?
No, I'm putting my foot down. Is he playing the Steel Ranger now? Oh, he's going to freeze. Oh, this is a setup. Setting up for the Kalamos. Actually, I think he set up lethal here.
Yeah, with
cute.
the Kalamos.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good recognition to play this 5-1 out just as a man. I don't know if I would have seen that. He's going for it!
What? Okay, first of all, that really lets your opponent know something's up. When you just decide to whack in there with the Super Collider, you're like, as soon as 2 minions hit the board, I'm going to kill him. One in the face, like, they know something's up now.
Glee is like, okay, what is in Journey to Ungoro?
This prompts Glee to play defensively in some way. That's the only thing I don't like about it. Honestly,
yeah, the 1 damage seems less than maybe false sense of security.
yes, I think false sense of security is like probably my only winning mechanism left in the repertoire at this point.
He has a lot of damage though, dude. He has the ping and he has 9 from hand. That's more than like most decks can do.
It could technically be more if you use adaptive spores and get Wind Fury.
If that's a lethal out, you probably go for it. You can Zola the shard so your Kalamos is active for another turn.
I want to talk about this for a second because I want to give another shout out to Fino because I think he's been playing so fantastically recently that it's been such a joy to watch. Oftentimes when I watch Fino play, he makes plays to me that look very strange and they look very curious. And then what I realize is he's avoiding just disaster scenarios happening. He's not going to fall too far behind, he's not going to get too far ahead, but he's just avoiding some colossal disaster. And then oftentimes he'll make a play to do the exact opposite to the opponent, to create a position for a colossal disaster. Like when you have cards that do this, I think it's very often wise to use weaker cards to try to set up one of those weird disaster scenarios.
It's interesting. It's not how I approach the game, honestly. It's I
just think it's an interesting approach.
Yeah,
he's been winning a ton.
Oh, he's very good, and I think that strategy works really well sometimes. I think my willingness to take risks is what makes me better in some scenarios than like pretty much anyone. But it's also that can be a little bit of a trap because sometimes I think, not in a great spot. I should probably take this risk, and it's like maybe I was in an okay enough spot to try and beat some of those cards.
Yeah.
So it's like a mentality thing. I've noticed a lot of the European players are actually more conservative, whereas North American players tend to be more like open to risks and aggressive, which is just interesting. Like I don't see any reason why that is.
I don't really see any reason why either. It's just like something that I've observed as well.
Yeah.
Like I've said for a long time, it feels like Europeans play more control decks to me.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
And then, of course, then you got Muzzy in the mix. It's like, he's known for his aggro every single tournament control decks.
I'm known for my aggro now.
Took you long enough.
I got to go back to playing control at some point. I got to
You haven't been winning much since then, so.
What do you mean? I'm like the 3rd best player in my region.
We're not going to talk about
And
reality.
I'm in high school.
We're not talking about reality. It's a bunch of 1-1s too. I mean, this is
pretty good.
This is scary.
Looking at Glee's hand, it just doesn't do anything.
He legitimately lost tempo.
This needed to be exploding blowback, probably.
I honestly feel like that Glee could have done a lot more aggressive fighting for board position and a lot less, I guess trickiness would be the word I'm looking for. It feels like he's trying to like hit miracle outcomes on these beasts to just get like dominatingly good positions. And it's like maybe too far-sighted where you're like thinking so far down the road that you're not looking at the immediacy of sometimes your opponent gets ahead. They start attacking.
I think people have a problem where they overbuild beasts too. Like when you have a powerful turn and you're Rexar, I think it's really good to do that because you're never going to run out of stuff. I think you push, and then it's like you're forcing resources to trade. You want to trade resources aggressively. It's like in chess if you're ahead. It's like you want to trade resources as best you can because at the end of the day you're going to shake out and be a little ahead. But I think Glee was pretty focused this game on like not so much trading and trying to be hyper efficient. But I think Rexar's strength isn't hyper efficiency.
Oh, here we go.
The adapting spores. Poisonous, attack, Wind Fury, all lethal.
I'm going to guess they're not very good. And I caught a glance there. They are not very good.
Big taunt? They could have picked health. I guess it's still just game.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
12.
Fair enough.
Lethal's lethal. Plantz 2-0 after a long, grueling battle.
Plants versus the zombies. Plants win again.
They're too strong.
I was always so bummed when I lost the level in that game. I was like, really? I lost to the computer?
2 wins with the Warriors. Match point now to be top 4 at Dreamhack.
It's a good result.
He's got 3 tries to do it. Glee's going to have to win 3 straight on Even Paladin if he's going to get out of this mess.
Even Paladin's pretty dope, though.
Look at that copy of Sound the Bells.
Whoa.
to go alongside the Wild Pyromancer. The Hydrologist package is typically in there. Of course, the Corpse Takers. Been one of the big beaters for Even Paladin. And also a copy of Argent Commander and doubling up on the Spike Ridge Steed with a Tyrion and Lich King at the top end.
He doesn't have Valinir in his deck. That's a good one in this matchup.
It's really good in this matchup. Honestly,
that's a big deal.
Valinir feels like quite a mediocre card to me. It's like when it's a good, it's like an all-star.
Yeah.
And when it's not so good, it just feels very slow. And I'm like, I do not have time to ever use this card. But in this particular matchup, often I have felt it's like a necessary tool. So when you double up on the Spike Ridge Steed and you have the Tyrion in there, it feels like a nod more to being able to play some substantial defense as you approach, the turn 8 mark. And that is not what he needs in this matchup. Defense is not the name of the game.
They say the best defense is a good offense. It's definitely true when the other deck's not really trying to play offense.
They also say the best offense is a good defense.
Do they say that too?
So I've heard people say that.
I feel like that's not as true.
I feel like it's really easy to just mix those two things up because they sound almost identical and it's just an old adage.
Call me old.
It sounds like a bad idiom at TJ and I would say.
I like your bad idiom.
We don't really know if we're saying it right or wrong. We're just kind of saying it.
Just ripping it.
Yeah.
Turned our curse into our
Here's Tarim. It's the best card in the deck.
Tarim Abdul-Jabbar gonna slam dunk.
And one.
Sports ball.
I've seen Plants do this every game, I think, or at least the past two. He just keeps and plays Omega Assembly on turn 1.
I think it's fine. And honestly, the more aggressive your opponent's matchup is, the more likely you are to actually need something utility-based to actually fend off against what your opponent's doing. If this matchup is going to take forever, well, no. What do you need the early mech for? But if the matchup is, going to be pretty fast and furious, you probably just want to get something down and start attacking.
Well, it's interesting because it's like he's been finding himself in these positions where normally Odd Warrior is just not contesting the board, and he's kind of just annoying the Glee's aggro starts, and he's slowing him down, and it's letting him go scale into these late game spots where he has more resources, ironically by using the Omega Assembly for less value.
Yeah, and so since Plants knows that there's no Valinir in the deck, like, are you ever willing to commit an Iron Beak Owl in this situation just to continue to fight for that position, or are you thinking like Tyrion, Spike Ridge Steed, those need to be handled?
Well, if you don't owl this, it's going to become sort of problematic, right? Like you're going to deal with it maybe on turn 5 with Super Collider. I think maybe committing 1 was reasonable. There are 2 Steeds in the deck, though.
Yeah, and
Tyrion. And you need to deal with Blessing of Kings.
There's also Sound the Bells.
Sound the Bells Wild Pyro is just Flame Strike, man.
Also, just, you know, it represents 5 damage on a turn where like there's nothing else to do, and the minion gets very large on the back end.
Right. Or
It's
like
not exactly
if they're
easy to kill.
if they're setting up an AOE, you can just choose to sound the bells all your things once or twice. Played the Ooze. He does run 2 copies. And he wants the pressure.
Yeah, I don't think Super Collider's like the biggest deal in the world.
Definitely
against even Paladin. I mean, you're looking for a big buff turn, and oftentimes it means you set a real minion and then you make a 1/1.
Yeah.
Super Colliders just doesn't feel like it's performing that well.
No, you can definitely you disrupt Super Collider a lot just by making a 1/1 in between your guys.
Yeah,
like that's a very effective strategy. So going for the pressure makes sense. Like we said, he doesn't have Valinir. He doesn't want to go the absolute distance. He's got some game. He's got some gas in his deck.
Go for speed.
Yes. He's gonna armor instead of playing the Stonehill. Seems like a good time to load up this. Oh, that can get him out of Dynamatic range. That's the one. Because he has 5 health exactly in play.
That's really good. Like right now, especially. So in my head, I want to put it on the why can't I say the 5 attack? Why couldn't I say that? You stick it here, and so if this gets owled or what have you, it gets healed up effectively for 1. And then you split the difference over on the Acidic Swamp Ooze, and now you have 2 threats cranking.
But if you made it to the Amani 5 health, it wouldn't die to Reckless Flurry.
It's a true story.
Kinda interesting. I think I would have either done 2 on the Ooze or 2 on the Amani, personally. 2 on the Amani is interesting. Like that's the biggest risk. Like if that works, he's getting clocked. Like you put a steed, if that lives, you're like, oh, he doesn't have Owl. You steed it, what's he gonna do? Maybe he has Owl, but maybe not.
I'd steed it.
I'd steed it too. I'm a big fan. Steed face. What are they gonna do?
Owl it.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, the anticipation they would have owled it the turn before.
Yeah, I mean, if I was staring down a 7/5 Amani Berserker and I went armor pass,
Ooh.
at that point I'd probably be like, all right, I'm just gonna True Silver. Like I don't need to get owled here. I'm really ahead.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. Brawl.
Here we go, big brawl. He doesn't have a lot of action in his hand. Oh no, that's a disaster for Glee.
Yeah, it's a pretty big yikes.
Plantz is pleased with that outcome.
That's 2/3 of the time. It does not look nearly this good.
No. All right, if you're Glee, I think you need to reevaluate. You definitely don't have any sort of read on Owl, so I don't think the Coin Steed's necessarily too good. You can try and set up a Sun Keeper Tarim.
I got
just
4,
get the True Silver down.
I got 4 charges of True Silver in hand. I need to get through them. But Glee sees Tarim in a 1/1 and says, you know what? That starts dealing 6 a turn. Let's get you up.
This does play around Dynamatic. It's pretty reasonable. I think it seems like a little bit of a pessimistic use of one of your best cards, but maybe this is good enough to get him there. I don't know.
It's not exactly easy to handle.
No, this turn is certainly awkward. I'm just worried, like, down the line, is this going to get him the pressure he needs?
And that's where my head's at right now. But, you know, threat checking your opponent is just a very real thing. You stick 2 things next to each other, your opponent doesn't do anything, and you go, whoa. Yeah. That's a lot of damage these just dealt. Like, I don't think I'm getting that much damage from these cards.
Also, one thing to note is steeding on, like, a bigger minion is pretty nice. Because, like, if he owls it, you still got a 3/7. Yeah. It's not that bad. But
or in this situation, too. Like, so Super Collider weakens up the Tarim. You stick Steed on it, you attack for 5 more. And then if your opponent owls it, you got a 3/7 again.
Yeah, and I mean, what's he going to do with his Iron Beak Owl turn? Armor up? It's not that powerful.
Yeah, I'm kind of, the more I think about this, the more I really like it. I don't know if that's like necessarily the intention of what's happening, but this is like a consequence. You have to see how Plantz is going to react to it. It's not always going to be Super Collider. So, you know, you just get a big benefit here with a Steed.
I'm definitely ripping the Steed here. This is like one of the most okay times to get owled, and if you don't get owled, you're obviously very happy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean if you don't get owled, I think it's game,
yeah,
almost.
It's big man.
Yeah.
I wonder.
He's sending it.
Yep.
He has the owl, though. We know this.
But it's still a 3/7. Oh, wow. That is a huge draw. Holy smokes, that is so good.
That's powerful.
That is sick.
That's insane.
Now, there's 2 Spellbreakers.
Oh, wow.
In the Even Paladin deck. Don't, you know, we gotta keep thinking about what's going down, but if that succeeds, that is sick. And your hero power is offsetting 5 of the damage anyway. So even if you get Spellbreaker in this spot, you only take 1 single point of damage.
Yeah, and then you can owl and have a more fluid turn. I'm facelessing that.
Oh,
every
yeah.
time.
Slamming it.
Yeah, that is.
I'm glad to see Plantz take his time and go, okay, what happens if I get Spellbreaker here? But that's the one.
It's not a Spellbreaker. This is going to be some serious disruption.
Yeah, this is some rumbling and tumbling. We're going to have to brawling in the middle of this board, and it's not looking good.
Ugh.
This is a very weak hand on Glee's side.
It's just, this is the kind of hand where you want the Valinir, honestly, because it's like you don't have a lot going on, but what you do have gets a lot stronger. And I find this situation comes up a lot as even Paladin, where I'm just looking at my hand, like I have some 2-drops, I have some removal, but he's a control deck. I don't really have anything to remove. You playing the True Silver here? You got to play something. You got to get swinging, man. You got a lot of these.
I know. It's to me, like, if I sat here for this long, it matters as much like what do I do. It's more like a matter of frustration. I'm like, I am upset.
I'm upset.
I'm very upset.
Argent Commander was pretty strong on board, but again, you gotta get it going.
Yeah, and it's the Collider too. You know, the Collider's just beating down the board.
And now he has the Owl to leverage, and it's that's slowed him down so much.
Yeah, this is Faceless is a hell of a card when people are going tall on minions. You know, that's a card that we hadn't seen played in the metagame for quite some time. We're talking years almost. And then suddenly people start going tall on minions and it reappears. You know, sans the cube shenanigans that were going on with Warlock.
Right.
That card was in no other decks.
Yes, that's true. Well, it's like when you think about what happened there, he played a 6-mana card, and then he spent 6 more mana making it bigger, and then for 5 mana, Plantz was like, oh, I'm going to do what you did for 12 mana in 2 turns.
By the way, my deck can't do that.
Yeah. By the way, you weren't setting up for that at all.
Yeah. Now it's just stuff in the way.
This is so awkward for Glee. Like, if you Argent Commander, there's a 2-1 trading into it. If you Pyromancer and Consecration, there's a 1-1 trading into the 3-1. Like, I don't see anything good. You can't burn him out. Your True Silver does the same amount as his hero power.
Yeah,
So,
you gotta have stuff on board to burn him out.
you gotta. I think if you're Glee, you gotta think, okay, how long can I go here? Like, what's? Can I take him the absolute distance? Potentially.
That's where your head's at right now?
Well, maybe not totally the distance, but I think you're going to have to go a while. I don't know how else. You're not going to kill him with this hand.
No, I mean, I feel you. Sometimes, you know, you have to make that decision way ahead of when you need to make that decision, and it's a very difficult thing to do, you know?
He's going to do it. I think he should swing into this 1-1.
So I guess my question is this you know, better or worse than the double Consecration in this situation? Because now you're giving it the True Silver charge as well.
Yeah, I
you know
mean,
this to buy a Consecration in your hand.
Yeah, I mean, Consecration's not great, right? I mean, I might have literally hero power passed and just given myself another turn to kind of think about what I was going to do. Like, maybe he plays the Baku.
Just hope they make him like an error or something.
Hope they commit something. Like, I don't. You're not getting. You're not buying yourself any initiative with this equality. Is where my head's at.
Yeah.
So maybe they do. Even if they don't do anything, maybe you equality the following turn, but you get to do something on that. Like on the back end of this, he played a Wild Pyro and a 1-1, and Dr. Boom closes this matchup very hard. I was playing this matchup when I was practicing for this tournament. It's very difficult to keep up with the 1-1's hero power, with the ping, with delivery drone. It just gets really out of hand.
Everything lines up really well.
It's just, your incremental advantage is gone. Like, your 1-1s versus their 4 hero power can kind of add up. It can't against Dr. Boom. That's not how it works. Though, he now doesn't gain 4 life a turn. So maybe
Glee 7 instead.
Glee can maybe make some kind of push. I don't know.
Ooh.
This is looking like a turn where he can go. He got the tank up hero power.
Yeah, well, the other thing too is like the mechs just have rush at this point too.
It's so hard to get anything to
Yeah,
live.
golly, this is tough. I'm not seeing anything short of a miracle being able to get Glee out of this one. You know, I'm talking we need to draw Tyrion, we need to draw Lich King, and then we need to draw the Wind Fury Harp. You can hope it sticks.
I think I'm this turn just going King's True Silver, and then I'm drawing Lich King, and I'm drawing Tyrion,
seriously.
and I'm just chaining him, and I'm hoping that I get there with pure burn.
When you're this far behind, you have to really think about what is the perfect sequence of draws to get you out of it, because nothing short of that's really going to do it.
Well,
imagine you're going to draw those cards and then just play as though you will.
The thing is, like, the quality deck is pretty good against taunts. Like, he can deal with, he's not like by going face, he's just going to lose immediately because he's going to lose the board. Paladin can actually kind of edge against that pretty well. So he can take the liberty to just go face a lot, but still, it's
a long way to go.
It's 24 damage that he needs. He has 10 right now. So, I mean, 3 swings from Tyrion, but he's got the owl for Tyrion.
That's not Tyrion.
It's not Tyrion. So he has 17 cards in his deck. What are the cards that he wants to draw? Really none of the cheap cards. He's played both True Silver Champions. He's got
Corpse
one more.
Taker could still be okay.
I don't think that's getting it done.
I don't think it's getting done, but, you know, if you're going to pick the, 5 draws out of the deck you want, I think Corpse Taker is going to be one of them. I think it's going to be the 3 at the top end, Lich King, Tyrion, Win for Your Harpy, and then Corpse Taker's the other 2.
I think you need this Avenging Wrath at some point.
You do.
Yeah. You're doing this. You're drawing Tyrion, or I think it's Lich King exactly, knowing that he has the owl.
You could get the Frostmourne too.
Right now he actually doesn't have. Oh, he has the Clockwork Automaton. Just has Rush. It's so hard to stick things once they're in Dr. Boom
that makes
mode
the
too.
Hero Power deal 6 as well.
Yeah, no, that comes up sometimes. It's pretty hype.
There's also just a rotten apple bomb in hand.
Has just 4 life
Yeah.
and a taunt. This is a tough look.
Roadblocks. It's like a Glee's like paper boy in that obstacle course, and there's like kids riding their trikes out in the middle of the road and like tornadoes in people's lawns and stuff. You're like, I'm just trying to deliver newspapers.
I did a spin move on somebody while I was running here. It was like a baby spin move, but I needed to avoid them.
Commanders do a little spin move there.
And 1. Took him to the basket.
Dipping and diving.
Bob and weave. Weave and bob. All right. Well, if this isn't if this is like Kaboom.
The king.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. Look. He actually can't kill it right now. There's a chance here. He has some bad draws in his deck. Like Direhorn Hatchling doesn't do anything, and that's an anti-magic shell. This could be it. Plantz needs to draw something here to deal with this Lich King, or it could stick. That doesn't actually kill it. This Lich King's going to live and connect to face.
My
this
goodness.
is a huge draw for Glee. He has a chance now.
This would be a good time for a mess.
Yeah, I agree, Dr. Boom. This is bad.
If you're Glee, you're like, oh my gosh, I
can
have
lose.
a chance. Or no, if you're
I'm sorry.
Glee,
Yeah, if you're playing spot, you're like, how can I lose? Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm supposed to never lose here.
maybe there was some sort of oversight. That doesn't really change stuff. It's an 8/8. That does 8 damage. Do you
Really
know?
big.
8's more than 7, and 7's a ton.
I would do a lot of things for a 50% chance to deal 8 damage.
It's still gonna be tough here, though.
The taunt in the...
I mean, I think you have to get this 8 damage. You have to equality. It's certainly that. I think I'm playing Hydrologist trying to get a resilient, trying to get something resilient like Redemption or Automated Defense Matrix, something that's gonna maybe make this stuff live. But he's getting Plantz after the 4 healing. He's getting him to 14 this turn, right? He could put him to 12 with the anti-magic shell. He's sort of starting to get there. Is he gonna just anti-magic shell and not push?
I mean, you saw 2 brawls.
He's going for the board. He's saying that he doesn't think he's getting enough damage if he does it that way. I'm looking at the deck. I'm looking at this Tyrion with both owls down, and I'm thinking if we get him to 14 and draw this Tyrion, then maybe we can get there.
It's a lot of stuff on board.
It is a lot of stuff. Did he position correctly around Super Collider? Looks like he did. That's good. That might seal the deal.
Well, there's still a lot of health on board.
But the Super Collider attack and the Dynomatic.
I'm going to wait to see how Plantz ends up ordering this, because there are some plays you could make that really take away from your ability to impact this correctly. So Super Collider's up first. And this is...
I think this is a guaranteed clear. If that was the Defense Matrix card, it was there would be exactly 5 health left in play.
Guaranteed clear.
Yeah, that was the correct attack. If he attacked on the far right and it was the Defense Matrix, there would be 6 health in play for the Dynomatic, but it has Rush, so I guess it would have Always. This is what I was worried about. Like, that seemed like a unique opportunity to attack the opponent and then maybe get lucky and win from there. I didn't see Glee getting there, fighting for the board. I thought that was his chance.
You know, there's also a Gluttonous Ooze in hand too, so at this point, I mean, we've approached the wrapped up point.
Sure,
I think.
Because now that means Tyrion's checked. We've seen Lich King. We've seen Tarim. There's another Spike Ridge Steed. Maybe that's sticking. Somehow, by some miracle, maybe the Wind Fury Harpy lives, and then you draw Spike Ridge Steed and you just get him. Seen Sound the Bells. He's got some corpse takers.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I don't think he has.
It was such a tough spot to be in, and like you got the right draw, but your opponent just still had gas.
Yeah, I mean, there was like a moment of weakness.
Fleeting.
It's like in that Pokemon movie where the guy has all the legendary Pokemon, and Ash uses all of his Pokemon to beat the one, but then the guy just sends out one of his other 5 and beats Pikachu immediately.
Oh, that's sad.
And I was like, oh my god, Pikachu's literally going to beat Lugia. And he did. And then he's on Darkrai. And I was like, this is ridiculous. That's what this is. I was so upset.
We're digging deep. We're taking Hidden Wisdom. I've never seen this activate. And I have played with it. Like
in the deck. Main deck.
Yeah. It was with Bellringer Century when everyone was playing like these weird, like all-in style, like mid-range things. They play a bunch of stuff in the middle. I was like, I'll just draw 2 cards and I'll get them. They'll never see it coming. It's just never got activated one time ever.
Pretty good against Sound the Bells.
I feel like Bellringer Century is like such a reasonable card, and it just is.
Well,
God, so close.
There's even an odd Paladin, and Bellringer Century is the unfortunate intersection. It's not really carrying the day as much as 2 dudes on turn 2 does. Or 1 dude on turn 1.
Can't I just put Gen and Baku in my deck?
Wait, would that work? And then you play a bunch of 0 mana cards, because as Frodan knows, 0's neither even nor odd.
That's also the community that knows that.
Wait, what?
They're pushing it. They're like, it's neither even nor odd. And I'm like, no, it's a number.
It's certainly even.
It's one of those 2.
What is 1? Is it odd? What is -1? Is it also odd? What's in between odd? That's an N1. Oof. It's so tough when you're Glee, but good run, right? Like, you just get to this point, you're feeling pretty good. You have that chance to win this game, but it's like so fleeting.
The run, everyone comes to an end.
Yeah. Nah.
You either win it or you lose it.
I won it.
You've lost it this weekend. You know, I'll digress.
You ever won it?
Yeah.
Nice. How was that?
It's all right. Felt pretty good.
I thought it felt great.
But you got to be proud of yourself. This is a tough field. Like,
yeah, for sure.
It was over 200 players that showed up for this one, and it was just stacked across the board. You know, you beat out a lot of the top players in the world to get to this top 8 point. You know, a number of people fell just short of that top 16 mark, who I would consider, you know, the elite of the elite coming into this event.
Is that me?
Sure.
Got him. Still relevant. Still clinging on.
Plantz, this, I mean, 3-0 with this, and it's just been like pretty dominant performances.
He's looked confident to me. Like, I see a lot of people in these kind of control versus aggro situations, maybe a little hesitant. They don't necessarily know how to parse their resources. I'm looking at some of Plantz. I don't agree with some of his play, but I think his mentality is right. It's like, well, how can I lose if I do this? And he's just kind of, I think that's been his mentality a lot in these aggro matchups. Except against Hunter, we saw him actually take some risks and get ahead.
Yeah.
So he's showing a lot of matchup knowledge.
The other thing, too, is like, you know, over the course of the weekend, we're talking 9 rounds of Swiss plus your top 16 match, and you've been playing Odd Warrior. Like, it's just a lot of time spent thinking. Like, you can get literally IRL fatigued. And that's a big factor. Like, you know, if you can think with a clear head for that long and still be putting on performances, like, that's not easy to do. It's not the same as sitting at home and eating Cheerios and playing cards.
Chalky had a theory that you were never supposed to play Control Warrior if you went to Europe because you'd be jet lagged and playing Control Warrior, so it was like a double hate yourself.
Secret's out.
He did it one time, he said, and he was just like, I lost favorables and was so upset. My solution is not to go to Europe. It's a good middle point. Oh, Oh, the Joey bot's back. Oh, wait, but he can pick Demolisher. He can set up a perimeter around the Demolisher.
You better apologize to Demolisher if that doesn't get taken.
Well, I mean.
You hyped up the Joey bot.
Yeah.
Plantz knows.
Uh-huh. Can you get Meat Wagon off that?
It's mech, isn't it?
Is it? I think so, right?
Yep. It's a construct. It's a wagon. Someone had to build it.
It's a construct.
They don't just exist.
I'm going to be upset if Glee doesn't let this Meat Wagon, or this Demolisher shoot. That's what I got out of bed for in the morning.
Winter is here.
Does he have a copy of Crystal Smith Kangor in his deck? He doesn't, so this doesn't have lifesteal. I mean, he could go back up to 37 different times and probably still lose this game. I just don't see how he's recovering the board state. But he's thinking. He's fighting.
And that's like, you know, how Odd Warrior works. It's like a very traditional style of control where you don't have like a limited amount of damage. It is like you eliminate all of your opponent's stuff and then you beat them up with good old-fashioned minions.
Just men, yeah.
Nothing fancy.
It does. I'd say it struggles to turn the corner. I think that's one of my biggest critiques. Not as badly as Dead Man's Hand Warrior, though. That is the biggest problem with Dead Man's Hand Warrior, is you cannot kill people after you get ahead. So they just claw their way back.
That's where Zamos fixed all that problem. What did he there in the box? You get the treasure that draws 3 cards and makes them 0. You use Bring It On plus Dead Man's Hand plus that, and you just gain 1,000 armor. You do it every turn.
But they just keep coming.
But you make 1,000 armor every turn, and you never fatigue.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah, it's really good. It's fun to watch. The second time, anyway. Like the third time, you're like, okay.
And the Demolisher, 2 to the face. And 1. Actually, no, that's a mid-range jumper. If he hits with the Demolisher, it's an N1.
Oh my gosh, you're actually right.
No, the intervals are perfect. It's literally an N1.
Is it an Explodinator Lethal? I don't quite recall the hand. No AoE.
He can
Shield slam for 2
slam
damage. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2 off.
I'd shield slam the bot.
Now?
Why not?
Because you just do it later.
No, it's pretty fun when you do it now. He might concede.
I want you to look at the board and tell me that Glee might concede. We've been here for about 17 turns. Glee's
oh, really? The
sticking it out.
gluttonous ooze. That's what did it, man. Okay. All right.
Maximize the camera time respectively in that one. And now finally, with nothing left to do, Plantz 3-0 and is on to the top 4 here at Dreamhack Atlanta. A dominant performance